about Cambia. I'm joined by Krista, Meston, and Hazel John, who you'll hear from in just a few minutes. And then we also have Natalie and Heather on the line from our HR team, and they'll be happy to answer any questions you have, specifics around opportunities at Cambia. And to kick us off, I just wanted to share a few slides to give you a little bit of background information in case you maybe haven't heard of Cambia, you're not familiar with what we do, just to give you a little example of what it's like to work at Cambia. So I'll rely here. There we go. What you're seeing here is our cause. This is our driving force. This is behind everything we do at Cambia. I think you'll be hard pressed to find anyone who works at this company who doesn't feel passionate about this, which is just in a nutshell, making healthcare better for everyone. That's our focus. That's our goal in everything that we do. We are headquartered in Portland, Oregon. However, we do have offices in Washington, Idaho, Utah, and Texas. As you can see, we are a family of 20 plus companies. So we are the parent company of the Regents health insurance plan that you might be more familiar with than Cambia, but we also have a lot of other companies that fall under the Cambia umbrella. And these strategies really are what are helping drive us towards our cause. This is how we're getting there. These are things, again, that we as a company are very passionate about. And I think that you would find, everyone in every corner of our company knows that these are the things that are really important to us as a whole. This slide I'm really excited to share with you. We are almost 5,000 strong. And although geographically our business footprint is in the Pacific Northwest, you can see we're pretty geographically diverse as far as where we work. Of course, until recent now, everyone is working from home pretty much, right? But you can see even prior to the pandemic, 34% of our workforce was a remote worker. I'm one of those remote workers. You see the little one person in Missouri, that's me. I live in Kansas City, Missouri. Krista, who you'll be hearing from, is also a remote worker. So that's one of the great things about Cambia that I really appreciate, is the ability to be able to live and work from anywhere for most of the positions. And diversity, equity, inclusion is incredibly important to Cambia as a whole. And I know to the people in particular who have joined me here today, it's a passion and a priority. You can see we do have 6 employee resource groups currently at Cambia that are a great way to connect with people. If you're new at Cambia, it's a really good way to get to know folks. It's also a great way to develop some leadership skills. So that's just one of the ways that we are driving diversity, equity, and inclusion at Cambia. And finally, I just wanted to share with you just some of the recognition we've received in recent years. I'm really proud to be a part of Cambia. I think everyone else you'll hear from today is as well. And you can see that we've been recognized from several different resources for the things that we're doing right. Very proud to be a part of this company, and I'm very excited to welcome and introduce you to some leaders at our company. So Hazel John and Krista Meston have joined me, and I'm going to go ahead and just ask them to jump right in and tell us a little bit about how long you've been at Cambia and what initially drew you to Cambia. So Krista, let's go ahead and start with you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Lacey. I've been with Cambia for about 4.5 years. An old colleague of mine actually suggested that I come over and take on a role. And it's funny because at first I turned him down. I had a good thing going with the company I was with prior to this. And but after his persistence and educating me a little bit more about Cambia, I was really drawn to it. It seemed like a great place to grow, to learn, and to apply my skills at the same time. I was also really impressed with the tenure of the staff. So in fact, I have one employee who will be celebrating 40 years at Cambia in January, if you can believe that. But to me, that meant it must be a good company because she's not the only one, right? There's plenty of them that have been around for a while, so that's always a good sign. And of course, the cause was really compelling to me. It was refreshing to see that a company that was really trying to change the world, if you will, and not just worry about making money. And in addition, although they are an older company, Cambia's been around for over 100 years, there's a lot of desire and initiatives underway to innovate in the area of product offerings, solutions directly to our consumers so that healthcare is more accessible, and also in their technology. So, I have technology background, and of course, that was really compelling to me.
Great. Hazel, how about you?
So a recruiter reached out to me, and this was for a position in our data science organization, and that was a passion for me. And I started looking at Cambia. I had not planned to leave my current employer at that time, but I had also recently lost my mom. And when I read the cause, it sort of, I wanted to be part of that change. And that was that conjunction of being able to work in data science, machine learning, which was something that I had been trying to learn on my own, and sort of accelerate my path with the hands-on experience there, as well as just the cause, made me go through the interview cycle, and I came in, and I've been here now 3.5 years. And the reason I stay here is a lot of what Krista already went through, right? I just like the people I work with, and that is Seattle and Portland tend to be high-tech companies, have a slightly different culture, and I felt more at home here. And that is the culture I try to have in my teams as well, where all diversity, personality types, people have a voice, and it has been part of what I felt, and that I stay here because as a small part of the organization, I can continue to make Cambia better that way, be part of that, how we operate.
And I'll just add to that, that there's, lots of different opportunities. In the 4.5 years I've been here, I've been in a couple parts of the organization and have had the ability to stay challenged and to learn new things, which is really important to me. And the other thing is that leadership is always available. So even at the executive level, I've never had one leader turn me down for an informational meeting with them, or to respond to a question I had that maybe only they could answer. Very much an open door type of environment. But more importantly, I was drawn to the cause, but I was concerned that maybe it was just words on paper. And I think Hazel alluded to this a little bit. It really isn't. It's the first company I worked for where the CEO actually walks the talk, if you will. And the things that we do every day are ingrained in us to think about how we are impacting and working towards that cause. And also what value we're bringing to our consumer or customer, if you will. And we literally ask ourselves when new work comes our way, how is this improving healthcare for our consumers? So it's not only refreshing to have a great cause to stand behind, but refreshing that we actually do it.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. So each of you give us your in a nutshell what you do and what your team does at Cambia and how that fits into the bigger picture of our cause.
Sure, I'll go ahead. Pause there for you, Hazel, but I'll go ahead. The part of the organization I work in, and like Lacey said, there's over 20 different companies under the Cambia umbrella. We're Regents, Blue Cross Blue Shield, my part of the organization. And that's the insurance side of the house. And that's the majority of the business under Cambia right now. And my part of that focuses on all the technology, most of the technology solutions to support an insurance company. So claim systems that our providers or doctors use, other clinical systems, financial systems, all those types of things. My team within that organization focuses on delivering that technology, meaning if there's large cross-team, cross-functional type of initiatives being worked on, we get in there and we make sure it happens through some project management or from relationship management or what have you. We also make sure that we're working on the right things. So we look at the entire portfolio of work that the other parts are working on, other parts of this organization are working on, and make sure it aligns with our objectives and strategies for the year. And then finally, we also do the technical operations. So basically monitoring our applications, making sure that we're meeting our service level agreements, that we're responding timely, right to requests, things like that, as well as the business operations. So we're kind of an all-encompassing team. We do a lot of different things, but my team doesn't actually do the hands-on development work. We work closely with those teams. However, it is still a requirement of our team to be highly technical because we need to understand those solutions and how they work. If that makes sense.
Yeah, great. Thanks. How about you, Hazel?
So I joined, as I said, the data science organization, but a little later on in my journey, I'm part of what we call the CTO organization. And in a nutshell, what we do is we are the technology enablers. So you can think of us as the teams creating foundational capabilities that accelerate the rest of the company's domain work. So some of the things that Krista talked about, the domain in my mind is all the nitty gritty of how the company operates, right? And in my side, what we solve for is identity and access management. We are also building out a new event streaming platform. We are building the whole consumer identity ecosystem with preferences management. So that is where my area team's focus has been. And when I moved over to this organization, it was acceleration to cloud, making sure that we are doing cloud well managed. And we had reference implementations and again, foundational capabilities there. So my teams are highly technical team, hands-on teams. And one of the things I would say about my team is I don't look for specific tool sets. I look for the ability to use the right tool at the right time. So you generally don't see, I want a Java expertise or JavaScript expertise or Go or whatever it is. It is really, are you willing to learn quickly? Are you willing to try new things? Are you willing to have that adaptability which allows you to solve with the right tool set for the problem at hand?
Great, thank you. So we definitely want to make sure we leave time for Q&A. So I know we only have a few minutes left. So I'm going to roll two questions into one as our last question for the two of you before Q&A. So the question is, as a hiring manager, what qualities do you look for in a candidate? And can you talk a little bit about how diversity and inclusion plays into that and the importance of that as you're looking for candidates?
I'll go ahead and start, Hazel. Well, I'll start with the last question first. So I'll just summarize it quickly that in technology, we build solutions for all people. And I've seen over my career, I've had my own experiences that sometimes they're built from only a few perspectives. So to me, that, that's a conflict. Is if we're building it for all people, then we need to have many different perspectives, not just a few. Like I said, I have lots of stories in this area and I'm happy to answer questions. It's definitely a passion of mine. As a hiring manager, the things that I look for, of course, you look for what's in the job description, right? But really what's important to me is the ability and eagerness to learn. If, people come, they're never going to have everything that you want. They're not going to be 100% able to fulfill the skills that are outlined in the description. job description. But what I do look for is, okay, is the lack of that skill, can I teach it? And are you able to learn it? So, for example, if you don't know how to use Word, but maybe you've used Google Docs, it's going to be easy for me to teach you to use Word, right? This very simple example. But if you don't know how to type, that's going to take a lot more effort on my end, so that's not necessarily good. So I want to see that I can teach that skill. And then, of course, if you tell me you hate Microsoft tools, you hope to never learn them, then you don't have the eagerness to learn that I need in order to teach that skill, if that makes sense. So to me, that's really important, is even if you're lacking in the skill, that there's that ability there to learn it.
Great, thanks. How about you, Hazel?
So the first thing I do is I look for, as I said before, I look for the passion for learning again, as a theme is continuing. I also make sure our interview process has very diverse voices. And what I mean is diverse in the things we talk about here, as well as not just technical. We look for soft skills. So we have our product owners and our business stakeholders in the loop. And I would say from my 3.5 years, we have had a couple of people come in and ask me, how come you hired me? Because I thought I really, really didn't do well in that interview. And so it is not necessarily what everybody expects. I look for obviously balancing out the team. So when I'm doing that, I look for specific skills or soft skills that need to happen. But passion for learning, willingness, that adaptability, and culture fit. Those are the things that are important to me.
Great, thank you so much. Well, thank you both. And I think now we were going to open it up a few minutes for Q&A. If anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We do have some of our team members monitoring the chat, or use the raise hand feature, and we'll be happy to unmute you and let you ask your question.
I believe it's Sukhneet.
Sukhneet.
Yeah, Sukhneet. So I unmuted. Oh yeah, you're already talking. So feel free to ask your question.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences, and it's been great so far. Like, I have attended so many sessions at WIT, and like, it's my first time, but thank you so much for sharing your experiences. It's been great. So like, my question was specific to like new grad roles and stuff. So currently, like, I'm a senior and I would be graduating in May 2021. So the question that I had was that I have a very diverse field, so I don't have like something specific, but that doesn't mean that I don't have specific experience in that field either. So I have like specific experiences in different fields, which makes it very diverse and integrated. So I am a neuroscience major and a psychology major, but I also have like data science experience because I was working in a visual cognition research utilizing data science skills. And so I was wondering, like, what and when can I expect to see new grad roles, which are like, you know, for which the starting date is May 2021, for example, at Cambia.
I can take so one of the things I usually see new grads coming in at Cambia is through an internship. We have multiple internship programs because it gives people, even while they're still studying, right, the opportunity to come in, and they tend to be longer than, sometimes it takes longer. I have had multiple people study and work at the same time, and I'm very flexible with that. That allows you to come in and explore opportunities, and for the team to get to know you and really understand you. We had last couple of years back, we had a college hire program. I don't know whether we have it every year. So to me, those are the two opportunities that I would look for in our job board: internships and entry level. If I'm not sure at this point whether I have seen any junior developer openings.
Thank you so much, Hazel.
Yeah. And maybe Megan or Natalie, could you share in the chat a link? I know we have some information on our site about internships. Maybe if there's a link you could share in the chat here, that would be great. Okay.
And is it Gentrix? I did unmute you if you want to unmute yourself to ask your question.
Okay, so my name is Gentrix. I'm based out of Houston. Also, my first time attending the Wheat Regatta event. And so far, I'm extremely impressed and, just really enjoying meeting new people. So one of the things that you talked about was when you get a candidate, they're not going to meet all your requirements. So how does the organization help them in terms of development? What tools and processes have you put in place to help them build up the skills to a position where they're, creating value, adding value and creating impact?
Take a stab at that. Great question. Thank you for asking it. First off, hiring managers are typically very hands-on, and we have good onboarding programs to get people up to speed. We have, for the most part, good documentation that can be referred to. We also have the ability to set up a mentor, so we can assign a mentor. We have an extensive library of educational material, many classes that you can even get credentials for or certifications. There's ones that are like 5-minute snippets, maybe 10 minutes, that give you a skill that maybe is an area that you want to focus on, give you hints. And then, of course, training opportunities, and if there's classes that you want to attend, those can be an option in most parts of the organization as well.
I will say that is one of the things that really outstanding. We have just so many partnerships with O'Reilly, Pluralsight for technology learning, and obviously we have our own Cambia Learn for a lot of that soft skills. Cambia also supports education, certain courses that can drive towards a degree or certification if you need to. So I think Cambia really values that culture of learning, and you can see it in the resources that is available to all the employees.
I also unmuted Mansi Kapoor. She had a question next, she or he.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is Mansi. So I have a quick question. I'll be graduating this December. So, and I'm looking for full-time roles starting January next year. So is there any minimum GPA requirement you have for full-time roles? Like you'll start the interview process this semester, right? So what if, like, is there any minimum GPA requirement you have?
I can take a stab at it. I have never looked at GPA. Sometimes the internship, the programs we work with have some criteria that they go through pre-selection for some of the internship programs that we are partnering with. To me, GPA is, that's where the diversity comes in, right? Some people are really, really good at getting good GPA, and some people aren't. Some people aren't good at exams. So for college graduates, I think if GPA is a concern, some of the things that might, and I'm just talking generally, would work in your favor is to have projects that you can say, here's my GitHub repository with some of the projects that I've done. So I think I'll speak for all of Cambia to say that hiring managers don't try to put XYZ as the absolute minimum from what I've seen and been part of in this 3.5 years.
Oh, okay. Because what I have seen is that in the application process, there's always a section where you have to mention the range where your GPA lies. So I was just wondering if in the initial screening process, it would matter.
I think maybe Natalie or others, I haven't obviously seen that. So
Yeah, Hazel, I think it's actually, we only have 2 minutes left. I know we have lots of questions. Please keep putting your questions in the chat. And I'll ask Hazel and Krista maybe to go on mute and transition to the chat to answer questions. That would be great. And Natalie, can you maybe talk about that if there's a GPA requirement you're aware of in the screening process? And then we'll use this last minute to let you tell us about some of the roles at Cambia.
Definitely. Yeah, GPA has never been a question. It's more your skill set. It's more your experience. It's more, are you driven? Are you eager? I've never had a hiring manager ask about GPA. So that's not really an issue at all. I think having a degree, having certifications, taking classes, I think that's way more important. So I wouldn't worry about that. But I just kind of wanted to follow up as far as some of the positions that we are hiring for, because we are doing quite a bit of hiring now. Things have really picked up on all of our teams across the board. So especially when we were talking about more entry level. So we do have a lot of our internships that are going to be coming available, as well as our entry level. So entry level development roles. So those are great for people that either have taken classes, have an internship under their belt, recent grads. So I have about 2 software development engineer ones that are open right now. Those you do not have to have any work experience. Honestly, the hiring managers are looking just for that eagerness, somebody that really is driven, wants a challenge, is ready to join a team. So I'm happy to connect with anyone about that and what you're looking for. Those are coming up more and more this month and next month. So a great way for all of us to connect. I post a lot of this on my LinkedIn. If you have a LinkedIn, let's connect. It's Natalie Dicus. I'll put it in the chat as well. That's a great way. I post all my new roles, especially my more entry-level roles, because I attend a lot of these events and go to school events and such, and so I have a lot of people in my network. But as far as like other roles too, within DevOps, within our AI teams, we've got architect roles, more analyst roles open, more in our product owner roles. So we've got across the board, we've got a ton of that, and that's on our careers page, which I can put in the chat as well. Again, LinkedIn is a great way to connect with Heather and I. So I work on just the tech roles at Cambia. So that's my primary focus. Heather works on a little bit of some other ones as well. So we are great people to connect with. But yeah, anyone, send me your resume if you have any questions. I love to help with that as well. We can give good advice on that. And a great way is just to keep attending these events. If you can just let me know when you do email me that we were on this call, super great. That'd be fantastic. So I'm happy to talk with anyone offline too. We can do a virtual coffee or whatever. I do that a lot. So Heather and I are open to that too. So let's all do that. So thanks so much for coming too. This is fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you, Natalie. And thanks, everyone. I know we went over our time, but thanks for bearing with us. And hopefully we've been able to answer your questions in the chat. And I think Grace posted information so you can get in touch with us after this.
Yes, I just want to thank Lacey and everyone from the Cambia team. I did link, if you look at the website, the itinerary and click on this specific session, everyone's profile is up. You can go ahead and connect with them outside of the session via LinkedIn and follow up. So thanks again for joining us. And yeah, Lacey and everyone, thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.